Hello there.
Professor Plato, we meet at last. You know, I always considered you to be life's greatest enemy. You built a magnificent palace called Truth. But my question is this, Professor. Why did you turn your back on this life to fall in love with mental shadows? Why did you abandon reality for a world of ideas?
Welcome, Friedrich. I did not turn my back on life, my child. I only sought to wake mankind from its slumber. What you call life is merely a dark cave where people are prisoners of shadows. I wanted to show them that the true sun lies outside the cave. Are you truly content with leaving them in the darkness of ignorance?
The cave, your masterpiece of deception. With that story, you made people despise the earth. You claimed that anything that changes is worthless. Growth, aging, love, even death, all just shadows to you. You forced humanity to yearn for a fantasy world that doesn't exist. Is this not revenge against life?
It is not revenge, it is diagnosis. Look around. Everything in this world decays. Flowers wilt, bodies age. How can truth be something that is here today and gone tomorrow? I sought the eternal. I wanted to connect man to the everlasting, not the fleeting.
And that is exactly the problem. You were afraid of change. You were terrified of aging, so you invented a static world to find peace. That is not courage, Plato. That is fear. Why can't we accept that truth is change? Like Heraclitus said, truth is burning and creating, not a frozen statue in the sky.
Heraclitus. He thought everything was fire, just like you. But a society cannot be built on fire, Friedrich. If everything is in flux, then justice changes from day to day. Without stability, there is no morality. I sought a North Star so the ship of humanity wouldn't be lost in the storm. Do you wish to extinguish the stars?
I don't want to extinguish them. I want to reveal that we painted those stars ourselves. You think you discovered them, but you merely invented them to escape the void. Let's talk about your friend, Socrates. Did he hate the body as much as you do? Remember his last words? He said life is a sickness and death is the cure. Is that the voice of a philosopher or a sick man?
Socrates was not sick. He was liberated. The body is a tomb for the soul. Soma sema. It traps us with hunger, lust, and fear. These distractions silence the voice of reason. The true philosopher practices dying to free the soul from this cage. Do you not wish to be free?
Free from what? From myself? The soul is just a word for something in the body. The body is the great reason. It feels, it fights, it creates. You and Socrates tried to cover up instincts with dialectics. You thought crowning reason would bring happiness. You only made life dry and bloodless.
Without the rule of reason, man becomes a beast. We are like a charioteer with two horses, a wild one, appetite, and a noble one, spirit. If reason does not hold the reins, the wild horse will drag the chariot into the abyss. Do you suggest we drop the reins?
I say that wild horse is the engine of life. If you choke it, the chariot stops moving. You demonized instincts. But all art, all beauty, all the passion of life comes from that wild horse. You wanted to tame humanity, but you only weakened it.
To be tamed is to be civilized. A society where everyone follows their instincts becomes a jungle. You are confusing order with weakness. The human soul must be polished to reflect the truth, not stained by the mud of desire.
And that is why you hate art, isn't it? I heard you wanted to banish poets from your republic. Because they lie? Or because they awaken emotions?
Art, yes. Art is dangerous. It is a copy of a copy. The carpenter makes a bed, a copy of the idea. The painter paints the bed, a copy of the carpenter's work. This removes us 3 steps from the truth. Worse, it stirs up false emotions. Tragedy makes strong men weep. Is that not weakness?
That is the height of power. We have art in order not to die of the truth. Your dry mathematical truth is unbearable, old man. Humanity needs dreams, needs dance, needs the holy madness of Dionysus. You wanted everything Apollonian, orderly and rigid. But life is a mix of order and chaos. You censored half of existence.
I am responsible for the education of citizens. If the youth get used to weeping at plays, they won't be able to hold a sword when war comes. Emotions must be trained, not unleashed. Beauty must serve the good, not pleasure.
Beauty serving the good. What a terrifying sentence. You want to make art a slave to morality. Art must be free. It must show the ugly, the painful. You want to censor the world to fit your theories, but the world doesn't fit in your cage.
If my cage means law and virtue, then yes. I prefer a world in the cage of law than in the jungle of chaos. Without morality, how is man different from a wolf?
Morality. Let's discuss your next masterpiece. You said the good is absolute, but I say this morality you built is slave morality. You taught us that humility, weakness, and pity are virtues. Why? Because these things benefit the weak. You wanted to chain the lions so the lambs could sleep peacefully.
That is absurd, Friedrich. Justice means everyone is in their rightful place. Injustice is when the strong crush the weak. Are you implying that might equals right? If so, any tyrant is justified. The absolute good is a standard that even kings must bow before.
But a true king does not bow. I don't say we should be tyrants. I say we must stand beyond good and evil. We shouldn't wait for old books to tell us how to live. The nobleman creates his own values. What increases the feeling of power is good. What proceeds from weakness is bad. You turned morality into a whip to punish great men.
That is arrogance, my child. Do you think man is wise enough to define good and evil? History shows that whenever man forgot the divine, or the absolute good, he became a monster. You are smashing the idols of morality, but what will you replace them with? The will to power? That is the law of the jungle.
The law of the jungle is honest. It's better than your hypocritical law where priests and philosophers rule in the name of God. I want man to be strong enough to take responsibility instead of blaming the gods.
And who will lead these men? You? The masses are like a herd, Friedrich. They don't know what is good for them. They seek instant pleasure. Society needs a philosopher king, someone who has studied, suffered, and seen the light. Do you want to leave the herd without a shepherd?
I hate shepherds, Professor. I am not looking for a herd. I am waiting for the Ubermensch, the one who doesn't wait to be led, the one who walks the tightrope over the abyss. You want to keep society safe. I want to make society great, even if it's dangerous.
Dangerous? If this overman appears, he will place himself above God. And a man who thinks he is a god is the most dangerous creature in existence. You are building a time bomb and calling it freedom. Self-mastery means killing desires, not unleashing them.
A time bomb is better than a broken clock that never moves. Your society is a graveyard where everyone is polite and dead inside. Mine might be stormy, but it is alive. Man is something that must be overcome. We must build a bridge to something higher.
I hope this bridge you are building doesn't collapse under humanity's feet, because the abyss beneath is bottomless.
Do not fear, Professor. We will learn to dance on the rope. You stay in your cave and watch the shadows. We are going for the scorching sun, even if we burn. Goodbye, grand architect of illusions.
Well, friends, that brings us to the end of one of the most intense battles in the history of philosophy. Which side were you on? And now, the big question. Who should debate next? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next battle. Your likes fuel our journey. Until next time, goodbye.